All right, so you're thinking about making a move to Scottsdale, Arizona. You know, with everything Scottsdale has to offer, it's obviously a popular place to be, but where do you start? You know, we talk to a lot of people every day who are thinking about making the move to Scottsdale. Maybe they've taken a trip out here, they've vacationed, they've spent some time at some of the resorts and really kind of gotten a feel for it and they fall in love with it. But, you know, Scottsdale is a much bigger city than a lot of people even realize. There's a lot of ground to cover, and it's a completely different animal when trying to figure out what are the best areas and neighborhoods that you should be living in versus just coming out here for a visit. So in this video, what we're going to do, we're going to jump onto the map. We're going to kind of take you on a full guided tour of the entire city of Scottsdale from South Scottsdale all the way up into the way North Scottsdale area. We're kind of going to tell you the differences between all the areas and try to figure out what area might be right for you, because Scottsdale varies in a lot of ways. So if you're thinking about making the move, you really want to know what area might be right for you so you can kind of focus on having it make sense. So we're going to jump into the map and try to guide you. If you think that might be helpful for you, then stay tuned. What's up, everybody? It's Greg Corbett with the AZ Lifestyle Group right here in Phoenix, Arizona. If this is your first time to this channel and you're looking to find out everything you need to know about what it's like living in and or moving to the Phoenix area, including the city of Scottsdale, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you can be notified whenever we post a new video. We are helping people from all over when it comes to finding the best places and neighborhoods to live here. We absolutely love it. So if you're even thinking about making a move and you need any assistance whatsoever, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, however you want to get a hold of us. We got your back when it comes to moving to Phoenix and Scottsdale, Arizona. All right, let's not waste any time. I've got the map pulled up here on Google Maps. We've got Scottsdale highlighted in red. And I want to just give everybody, a heads up. This video is kind of geared towards people who, have already made the decision primarily they want to live in Scottsdale. Maybe you're potentially open to living somewhere close nearby, but, we get so many people that are like, hey, Scottsdale, I've been there. I know what I want, and that's kind of what I'm looking for, and they just need to understand the area a little bit better. So that's what this video is geared for. I am going to give you maybe a couple things to kind of consider that are outside the area depending on your situation, but we're going to primarily focus on just giving you a basic understanding and general overview of Scottsdale. So Scottsdale, like I said in the beginning, it's a lot bigger than a lot of people understand. From going down to the South Scottsdale area here, if you start down in South Scottsdale and you head north, it could take you about potentially 35, 40 minutes, depending on traffic, that type of thing. It's a pretty easy shot getting up there between the 101 and then taking Scottsdale Road or Pima. But it's a good drive going from north to south. So we're going to kind of guide you through that. I typically break Scottsdale down. If you've seen any of my other videos, I break it down into 5 segments, and that's kind of this South Scottsdale area. And then you kind of get into Old Town. So South Scottsdale and Old Town are pretty close together. And then you start getting into the Central Scottsdale area here. And then you get up into North Scottsdale. And, you can start saying North Scottsdale right here, even around, the Kierland area, Scottsdale Quarter, that type of thing, even south of the 101. And then north of the 101 here, you can go way far up. So this is a big segment. You can call it whatever you want. We call it way North Scottsdale, far North Scottsdale, however you want to call it. I just think North Scottsdale doesn't just cover, it's a big area for just calling North Scottsdale anything north of like Cactus on up. So there's a lot of differences between the areas the further north you go. And there's a lot of differences just, being in or outside the 101. So we've got the 101 here. A lot of people just say, hey, I want to stay within the 101. This is where the action's at. This is where, I'm going to be closer to the shopping, the dining, entertainment, nightlife, that type of thing. So a lot of people are just like, hey, we want to be inside the 101. But if you're somebody who's like, hey, I want to come out here, I want to have, more of the desert life, I want to be quieter, I want to have the views, then going outside the 101 might be for you. So again, there's a lot of ground to cover. Let's start kind of, in the zip code of 85257. That would be this, what I consider South Scottsdale. So south of Old Town here. So why don't we just bring up this map here of 85257. I think this will be easier to kind of clarify when you can see it highlighted in red. So this area here is just north of Tempe. You've got Arizona State University to the south. So Tempe is a big college town, obviously, with everybody, a lot of students going to ASU. You've got a lot of the surrounding area that's kind of, a lot of students, that type of thing. So you're going to see kind of a little bit more, I'd say, college age crowd kind of in the South Scottsdale area. This area is also, similar to, the Phoenix area where the houses were built in probably the 60s and 70s. So you have a lot of older brick looking houses, pretty close together, lot sizes, but, nice area. There's a lot of cool stuff around here, but it's not what you typically think of Scottsdale when you're kind of cruising around here. A lot of cool stuff to consider. This is definitely the most affordable part of Scottsdale when you're looking around, is this part of South Scottsdale. And again, it's based on the house sizes. It's based on the age. It's based on, just, how things have built up over time. It still can be fairly pricey for what you can get just because it's so central to everything. But, from a overall aspect, if you're looking for the most affordability, 85257 in the South Scottsdale area is going to give you the easiest entry point into Scottsdale when you're looking to buy. Access, like it's really cool to be kind of close to Papago and the Phoenix Zoo. Obviously, you're right next to the airport. You're very close to Tempe Town Lake. You're really easy access into a lot of things, being close to the freeways, that type of thing. So from a location point of view, it's very nice. You're just it's not gonna have like the same look and feel as, the further north you go into Scottsdale. It just starts to look, from an aesthetically pleasing point of view, it just starts to look a little bit nicer, that type of thing. And again, it's not to be a judge on it because there's a lot of nice things in here. So my goal won't be to dissuade anybody from any particular area, but I kind of want to give people a heads up just so they kind of just understand. If I'm guiding you, I'm going to listen to what your needs are. And if, we're going to try to figure out, say, hey, look, you probably need to keep this on your radar just in case, that type of thing. So, but we want to give you a basic understanding and try to give you the pros and cons of each area. So let's go ahead and head just north, and we'll look at the 85251 zip code, which is Old Town Scottsdale. So when you're looking at Old Town, you're basically going from about Thomas Road just up to about Chaparral. And this is obviously one of the most popular areas of Scottsdale, the Old Town area. And it's very diverse as well. So when you're looking at Old Town, you're going to have a lot of different potential areas to kind of consider and look at. And there's going to be a lot of diversity. It's still kind of one of the older areas of Scottsdale. But and this is a popular place to be. So a lot of people, when they've been out here on vacation and when they come out and hung out, you're either you're hanging out to go to Scottsdale Stadium to maybe hit up spring training, go to a Giants game. You've gone to, one of the resorts. There's a lot of great resorts out here between like the Phoenician, the Valley Ho. Again, Old Town, you can have a lot of fun hanging out here. So when it comes to figuring out whether it's a place for you to live, that's a completely different story. One of the most popular areas here, you've got the east side of Arcadia that goes into Scottsdale Road. So this section here, probably between about 60th Street and 68th Street, and even kind of going into this little pocket here to a certain extent. This is all Arcadia proper, and Arcadia is one of the most prominent areas within Phoenix and Scottsdale and probably the entire state. It's some amazing homes. So if you're looking at the best of the best and you have a high-end budget, you might want to look at Arcadia. It's one of the most prominent areas around. And then after that, you kind of got, if you're going on like the east side of 85251, you have something that's very similar to the 85257. You got older brick homes on lot sizes that are anywhere from 6,000 to 9,000 square foot. You're going to have a few little differences here and there, but you're going to have a similar feel where that's going to be the majority of homes And the one thing I do want to mention when it comes to South Scottsdale in particular, and this includes Old Town and 85257, there is a massive amount of short-term rentals in the area. So this has been flooded with investors coming in here and just, people who are like, hey, I want to take advantage of how popular the area is when people come in here to visit. And so there's a lot of short-term rentals. I've talked to many people who have had success with their rentals in Scottsdale. So there's, from a positive point of view on people doing that, I mean, people are making money. From the negative, if you're living next to them, I see a lot of people potentially, just getting sick of how many short-term rentals are in their neighborhood. So that's one of the big things. And that, it's going to be in Scottsdale all around. We've talked about it in our pros and cons video, but it's definitely more prominent in the South Scottsdale area. Number one, because that's where investors can find the cheaper homes is down there. And it makes more sense from a rental point of view. And that's where all the action is. So when people are coming into town, they're going to be hanging out in Old Town, and spending time down there. So again, a lot to consider. There's a lot of partying going on when it comes to Scottsdale. So that's one of the conversations we have too. It's like, hey, people want to be where the action is, but I just had this conversation the other day with one of my clients where it's like, you might want to look at it. It's fun to have like a condo down there, but you got to understand that on Friday and Saturday night, there's going to be a lot of noise and a lot of traffic. There's going to be a lot of drunk people out. And so those are things you got to consider on your weekends if you want to be dealing with that or not. So I know in theory, it's good to be a part of the fun, but you might have a little bit of negatives going along with it as well. There are ways to avoid it. Again, that's why you got to reach out to us. All right, real quick, you guys, if you're finding this info helpful at all, please consider hitting that like button and leave us a comment down below. Let us know, if there's anything we can improve on, what we can do better when it comes to giving you the information you need when moving to Scottsdale. Helps us try to figure out what the right content is. Helps us spread it to more people as well. We appreciate it. All right, let's head back over to the full Scottsdale map. I'm not going to break this down by zip code. There's a lot of zip codes in Scottsdale, but I think, for South Scottsdale and Old Town, that makes sense breaking them down by zip code. Once you get into Central Scottsdale here, you got like 85250, 85258, 85259. There's a lot of places to potentially consider. So when you're getting into Central Scottsdale, this is definitely one of the most popular areas to be, but it's still a little older. Now, the one thing that, kind of the Central and South Scottsdale areas get you, they're a little bit more green. So with the age of the areas, you're going to get a lot more greenery. You're going to get a lot more landscape that's kind of more or less desert. Because once you get out in the North Scottsdale area, it just definitely gets into more desert. You don't see as many people that have like the greenery as far as definitely grass in their yards and that type of thing. And a lot of the area, from before was still part of the old citrus groves and stuff like that. So, some of these areas have a lot more greenery than others. So when you're getting into Central Scottsdale, you're going to find the neighborhoods like McCormick Ranch. McCormick Ranch is obviously a big popular area to be. Gainey Ranch, those are two big communities that are big parts of Scottsdale, Arizona. Or a part of Central Scottsdale. And the other thing is you're right next to Paradise Valley. So if we zoom out a little bit, you've got the town of Paradise Valley here. Obviously, Paradise Valley is the most expensive area that you're going to find. And, just some amazing homes in there. So Paradise Valley kind of sits up here near the mountain preserves. And so a lot of the money that's in here kind of spills over into the central part of Scottsdale. So if you're not looking for the big acre lots with huge homes and multi-million-dollar pricing here, you go into Central Scottsdale, you find smaller homes, you find a lot of condos, you find a lot of townhomes, you find a lot of little gated communities, but they've all got their charm. And, but a lot of them are dated and they can be fairly pricey, but you're going to have the walkability, you're going to have the lock and leave type situation. So for people that are looking for lock and leave, they're looking for, being close to the action, Central Scottsdale has a lot to offer. Walkability, if you can go out your door and potentially just walk to, a bar, walk to a grocery store, that type of thing. So for those people that are looking for that walkability, it's nice to have as well. And also location from an access point of view, Central Scottsdale works for a lot of people. And then the other part about which I include in Central Scottsdale is this area here kind of going down the Shea corridor. This is mostly the zip code of 85259. And the Shea corridor kind of heads out east. Again, if you're looking on the on the map here, if we zoom out, this is where you kind of see Scottsdale expand towards the north. This area here is all, as it says, the Salt River Indian community. So, you got to go up to closer to Shea to start expanding out east. And so, there's a lot of cool neighborhoods out here if you start going east on Scottsdale Road, and you kind of start to get a little bit better into views here. And this is, it's case by case on whether people want to, and again, it depends on how far you are. A lot of times if you can find something close in here, you're close to the 101, you're easy access into a lot of things. You can still be into Old Town. You can still be into like Kierland and Scottsdale Quarter pretty easily within 15, 20 minutes. And then you get, start going further east, and it gets a little bit more quiet. There are some cool neighborhoods. You just get a little bit further away from the action. Those are the conversations we need to have, and say, hey, does that make sense for you or not? There's going to be, cool views when it comes to some of these neighborhoods. You're going to start getting into, having the McDowell Mountain range kind of behind you, so you can see some cool mountain views and that type of thing. There are some other neighborhoods that are just back to power lines and that type of thing, where it's like your whole view is just a big set of electric power lines. So those are the little details that you kind of miss and you don't really understand. That's why we do a lot of the neighborhood vlog tours, where we're going to take out and like go through the neighborhood so you can kind of see that. But so again, there's potentially a lot alike, but there are some potential things that you want to watch out for at the same time. But I do like that 85259 zip code, and I think there's a lot to potentially offer. So what if we go a little further north? I'd say, after you get, start getting north of Shea, and I'd say, in my mind, if you're north of Cactus, you start getting into North Scottsdale. And I don't know if there's anybody that has a specific rule book on what's considered North Scottsdale or not. I think it's, whatever you decide. In my mind, getting north of Cactus starts to be North Scottsdale for me. That's when you kind of get up to where the air park is, TPC Scottsdale. This is where, when you're getting up into this area here, this is, where the Phoenix Open is, Waste Management Phoenix Open every year. Westworld is where they've got the Barrett Jackson. A lot of events up in North Scottsdale. Again, a lot going on all over the place. You've got, as far as like your entertainment districts, you've got Kierland, which is right over here. You got Scottsdale Quarter right across the way. You're going to have a lot of, there's just a lot of businesses that are up here. I mean, there are a lot of cool neighborhoods as well. And these aren't prominent neighborhoods. All these neighborhoods are, when I say they're not prominent, I mean, you're probably not going to know a lot of them by name. The Phoenix area, Scottsdale area in general, have a lot of just little pocket neighborhoods. Like, nobody's probably going to know too much about like Patterson Ranch or Desert Wind or Sunrise. And say, like, those aren't talked about very often. So when you're looking at people that are saying, hey, the best neighborhoods in Scottsdale, you're not ever going to find these, because there's so many small little pockets that it doesn't make sense. So you could talk about 100 neighborhoods that all like look the same, and you're not going to really understand like what's going to be the right fit for you. So that's why location, it makes the most sense when we're talking about like, hey, where do you want to be? And then we'll go out and find the little things that kind of make sense for you, because there's a lot of similarities and there's a few differences as well to consider. But again, North Scottsdale for me, kind of going from Cactus, and then you start kind of going outside the 101 here. And I'll consider, kind of up to Pinnacle Peak, kind of the North Scottsdale area. This is the area outside the 101 here is when you get to some more prominent stuff. Greyhawk is a huge community, which is extremely popular. Then you've got DC Ranch. And then if you go, into DC Ranch, Silverleaf is out here. So if you're looking at, again, similar to what we see in Arcadia, similar to what we see in Paradise Valley, Silverleaf is probably now one of the more, if not the most expensive, when it comes to home by home. We'll throw some footage up on screen here because it kind of sits up at a point where you kind of look out to the entire Phoenix metro area. So from a view point of view, it's great. Like just kind of a cool little setup as far as what the neighborhood looks like. And then, you got record pricing up there. I mean, when I talk like how much you're going to spend up there, like some of these houses have closed. I think we had a record deal for $25 million on a house. So you're seeing some massive homes at big values. If you've got the money and that's where you're looking to play, I mean, it's a cool place to be, but just want to give people a heads up. So if you're like, hey, I've got a couple million to spend and I want to be up in Silverleaf, might get you like a condo or something. So what do you look at next? So for, again, like if we're going further north, a lot of people just say, hey, let's look around. Let's go a little bit further north. There's a lot of new construction kind of going on up here. I did a video on the Toll Brothers community, Sereno Canyon. I think that video does a pretty good job of kind of showcasing a lot of what these North Scottsdale areas. So definitely check out that video because it kind of gives you kind of an idea on what to consider and what you should expect. It's absolutely beautiful up there. You're surrounded by mountain views. It's very quiet. You're just kind of secluded up there. And to get up there, if you're, to give you an example, if you're living in Sereno Canyon, but you're like, hey, I kind of want to be near the action and want to get to the entertainment districts, it's going to take you about 25, 30 minutes potentially. Again, depending on traffic, it's not like it's that far. It's just, you got the side roads here and, you just gotta kind of weigh those things out if it's important to you. Now, some people don't care about being close to the action and they're like, hey, look, I want to be in a house where I'm going to have all the action at my house and I'm going to set it up where I don't need to leave very often. So if you're that type of person, then being up in these areas that offer all the views and that type of thing might be perfect for you. And I'm talking to a lot of people that's kind of their thing. I mean, they don't need to be close to the action. They just want to have a place that they can go where it's quiet and maybe they've got a very, very nice view and they like the neighborhood around them. And it just feels quiet and safe and clean. And it just gives them the feel of Scottsdale. There's a lot of people that's what they're looking for. So the further north you go and the further northeast you go, you're going to find that. Obviously, Troon North, those are going to be areas, again, as you see, and I haven't even talked about this yet, but a lot of golf course communities in Scottsdale. So golf is a big thing. Building the communities around the golf courses is a big thing. So if you're looking for a golf course community, North Scottsdale, I mean, all of Scottsdale has a lot of stuff to consider, but North Scottsdale tends to give you quite a bit. And then let's just go as far as you can. A lot of these communities have a lot of very similar feel to them. So again, it's impossible for me to tell you like, hey, this is going to be the best community for you. I'm kind of highlighting some of the ones that are most talked about and some of the ones that are larger, just so you kind of have a point of reference. But if you're like, hey, I like Troon, then you're going to like a lot of the other communities that aren't Troon kind of around here. So unless you're like, hey, I absolutely have to be in Troon for one specific reason, or I got to be on the golf course, everybody's going to be case by case, but you probably want to look at a lot of the areas up here. If we go all the way up to the top, you've got Desert Mountain. So this is going up to kind of Carefree Highway and or Cave Creek Road, excuse me. So Cave Creek Road is kind of where North Scottsdale ends as far as all these communities. This is where you got Desert Mountain, which is an absolutely huge community, and it's a hike. It's up there. I mean, there's a lot of people. This is a big area, and I think Scottsdale kind of fits this in a lot of reason, or for a lot of ways, is that there's a lot of people that like to have second homes in Scottsdale so that they can do a lock and leave, and then when they want to come visit, they've got a place to be, and then a lot of people don't rent them out. They just say, hey, I'm going to have this for when I need to be here. And so you have a lot of communities, and I'd say Desert Mountain kind of fits that model. And there's probably a few that kind of fit that model that are quiet, just because there's a lot of people that just aren't there. They're there short term. They leave when they want, and it's just there's not a whole lot of people around. So Scottsdale, especially North Scottsdale, kind of has that That may be for you, that might not be for you. A lot of people like the quietness and not having to deal with a lot of other people around. Some people are like, hey, I'd rather be in an area where I know, if I need to go knock on my neighbor's door, they're going to be around. And, you got people to talk to. So again, those are the things you got to ask yourself as far as what makes sense for you. The views up there are amazing. And you're going to have access that as we've, built up over the years. There's more grocery stores, there's more little shopping places, there's more little restaurants that you can kind of pop into. It used to be where you had to come all the way back down into the central and kind of the southern north part of Scottsdale to kind of see that. Now you've got a little bit more access to kind of the little amenities that you might need on a day-to-day basis. And then I want to bring up one other zip code here. This is the zip code of 85254. This is a Scottsdale address. So if you are looking at homes, you're going to have a Scottsdale address, but it's actually part of the city of Phoenix. So if you're looking around online, 85254, it's been kind of coined as the magic zip code. And the only reason it's been coined as the magic zip code is you get a Scottsdale address, but you get kind of Phoenix taxes, which, I'm not sure if it's that much different. I think there's certain benefits to having certain parts of Phoenix taxes that might be slightly cheaper, dealing with the city of Phoenix when it comes to building permits and that type of thing. If you were to do like a remodel or a rebuild on something, sometimes might be a little bit easier. There's certain aspects that might be a little bit cheaper depending on what your goals are. But you could be looking in an 85254 zip code. This looks, it's Paradise Valley Village, but you're north of Paradise Valley. You're not in the town of Paradise Valley, so don't get that confused as far as being in the town of Paradise Valley. There's some really cool pocket neighborhoods in here too. Some of these have a similar feel to kind of what you're going to find in North Scottsdale. Some of them are kind of more, have a Phoenix feel to them. So this area is going to be a little bit older than kind of some of the stuff when people are looking in North Scottsdale, like looking at 85254 is going to be completely different from, going up here to like the 85262 zip code. It just looks completely different. So if you're looking up here and you like what North Scottsdale has to offer, I rarely find that people want to go into 85254. 85254 to me are people that want to stay inside the 101, want to be closer to the action, and maybe need, a smaller house. They don't need anything massive. I mean, when I'd say 3,000 square foot or less, that type of thing. Can you find larger homes in here? Yes. But again, they're going to be older. They're going to be a little bit smaller lot. You're not going to have the kind of views, and the pricing is still fairly high. So for, a case by case, apples to apples comparison, I find that, this is really location driven when people are making a decision to go into this 85254 zip code. Obviously, being close to a lot of things is very helpful. But I'm just not finding a lot of people when they're relocating here focusing too much on 85254. It doesn't mean you should take it off your radar. You do need to know about it. I think there is always a potential to find something in here. But when we're looking at case by case, going home for home, I typically don't see a match when we're looking out here. All right, so one more area I want to bring up. This will be the last one we'll talk about. Fountain Hills. So Fountain Hills could be on your radar. This is another area that has some similar qualities to what you might find in North Scottsdale, especially when it comes to views. It's a different look of some of the neighborhoods, but I did a video out in Adero Canyon. That is another Toll Brothers community. If you're looking for very nice, brand new homes with amazing views, that Adero Canyon might be worth checking out. Fountain Hills is kind of a cool little town. Might be too far out for you as far as looking at Scottsdale, but if you want to try to find maybe something that has views, something that might be a little bit less money than what you're paying in Scottsdale, Fountain Hills might be a fit for you as well. We'll have that conversation if you're interested. All right, guys. So there is a quick overview for you when it comes to the city of Scottsdale altogether. Obviously, there's a lot of ground to cover And I could spend all day trying to go into the details of like, hey, here are the places to go, that type of thing. Scottsdale offers a lot. And I think, again, my goal is to kind of cover the location, the areas, that type of thing, because these are the types of questions that I'm going to be asking when people reach out to us and say, hey, look, we're looking to make the move to Scottsdale. We need to figure out where we want to be. There's so many factors involved. And so we need to know what your lifestyle is. We need to know like what your budget is. We need to know kind of what you're looking to do, and then try to fit you into the community that makes the most sense for you. What you don't want to do is guess and then guess the wrong community. So that's why we're here. That's why we have this channel. That's why we put the content out that we do, is so that we can kind of show you what the areas look like. We can give you a heads up on things that match your specific needs. So that's what we want to do. That's what we want to try to help people with. And so you don't make that wrong decision. We don't want to put you in the right neighborhood, have you regret your decision later on. So definitely reach out to us. We'll put our contact info on screen as usual. We're here to help when it comes to finding you the best places and neighborhoods there are when it comes to living in Scottsdale. We absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about making that move, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, however you want to get a hold of us. We got your back. And until the next video, we'll catch you later.